What is happening right now with the so-called minor cases of Italian citizenship by descent? Today we will continue our series of videos about the so-called minor cases of Italian citizenship by descent. As we already posted some video a few months ago, today we want to share with you all the updates, all the latest information about the so-called minor cases. What is happening right now with the court? Are the court approving the minor cases? Well, here we have two cases that we really recently won. This is Marco Basoni as always from the 𝙤𝙪 of office from Italy, and do not losing more time. Let's start. So, very quickly, what is a minor case? You have a minor case when you have an Italian ancestor, let's say your grandfather. Your grandfather was born Italian. Then your father immigrated abroad, let's say in the United States. In the United States, your grandfather had your father. And after the birth of your father, your Italian grandfather naturalized, so get American citizenship, when the father, so his son, was still a minor. Very recently, 1 year ago, a court in Italy started to apply the so-called new interpretation. So basically they say, from now we want to consider this case applying a strict interpretation of the case. So when the ancestor, the Italian ancestor naturalized, the minor was also considered, let's say, naturalized. So also the minor renews to his Italian citizenship right. This was really a game changer, I mean, in the situation, in some ways. But as you can see today, as you saw maybe with the latest video that we posted about, it's not, a really game changer. There are many courts around that are approving the so-called minor cases. So the big question is, I want to start a case. Do I need to be worried about a minor case? Maybe if you have a case with some court, for example, in Rome, 100% they will deny your case. In other court, you still have chance, you still have hopes. So you have not to surrender. So that's why we want to make this video, because we want to share all the latest information, all the updates about what is happening right now with the courts. Today we share two different cases, two very recent cases that we recently won in Italy with two different courts. So chronologically speaking, we have a case that was decided. The first one was decided in June 2024. The second one is decided at the end of July 2024. This is for sure the latest information you can have about the so-called minor cases. So the first case was heard in the the court of Catanzaro. Catanzaro is in Calabria region. We are talking, of course, in the south of Italy. You know that many immigrants in the past were coming from south of Italy. So in this case, we had a family applying for citizenship by descent, Italian citizenship by descent, Italian citizenship jure sanguinis, starting from the Italian ancestor, were born in Calabria, the Calabria region. In this type of case, we had two Italian ancestors. It was not a 1940 case, but we can say a normal administrative case with a so-called and a well-known problem right now of the lack of appointments. So they should have applied to the Italian consulate, but they were unable to find an appointment with the local Italian consulate in the US. We already talked about this problem. I leave you here a link if you want to check this type of particular situation. So if you are facing lack of appointment, you are unable to get an appointment with your local Italian consulate, what you can do is always just wait, continue waiting to be lucky enough to win this lottery of appointments, or to get an attorney in Italy and file your case through the court. This is actually right now one of the options to avoid and solve the lack of appointment, so-called lack of appointment cases. So this is the situation. The great-grandparents, the great-grandfather had the child in the US, and after 3 years, so the child was born in 1925. In 1928, so when the child was 3 years ago, so a minor of course, then the father, so the great-grandfather, naturalized as an American citizen. So we have a so-called clear minor case. The Italian ancestor naturalized when the child was still a minor. So what happened here? We explained to the judge, all the legal reason why the case should be and must be approved actually. So we recall, as we already explained in other videos about briefly, we already recall what are the general principle set on the jure sanguinis legislation, and so not just what is set since 1991. So when the Ministry of Internal Affairs in Italy set some regulation for all the cases, so the cases through the administrative path, but also the recent cases set by the High Court of the Suprema Corte Cassazione, so the High Court of Cassazione. Section unified is really important because it's even higher. A decision in this case from the section unified is really, we can say, almost mandatory for the tribunals to follow. So in this case, so we recall those principles. Those principles set a really important rule. When you got your right of citizenship through birth, jure sanguinis, so by blood, of course, you got your right. And you can only renew your right if you voluntarily renew your right. Of course, in this case, we said this is also applicable also in the circumstances because the minor technically never renews. He was a minor, so he cannot renew to his right, and never filed also in the adult age a declaration of renunciation of Italian citizenship by descent. So at the end, the judge approved the case, and in particular, says the judge, the status of Italian citizen is acquired since the beginning, so since the birth, and cannot be renewed until the owner of that right to voluntarily renews. So all the families that apply through us, they are all Italian citizens, and so of course they are just finalizing all the process for getting the passport. So this is a very important case because it's always very important. We always say that through the videos. It's very important to set some legal precedents, because with all the legal precedent we are able to use those legal precedent with the recent legal precedent to also through other cases, other minor cases we had with other courts. So that's why it's very important, it's still very important at the current stage to fight your case. If you have a minor case, unless you are not 100% but 99% sure that your case will be denied, because there's a long history of denial for this type of case from the court, then you need to fight the case. With the second case, we are also in the south of Italy. In particular, we are in Sicily at the court of 𝘿𝙤𝙨. In this case, we had a minor case with also a 1948 case. I think this case is very interesting because we receive a lot of questions also through the website, but through the social medias. What about if I have a minor case with the 1948 case? Is an additional complication? Technically not, because a 1948 case is a well-established case. So beside the fact that there is not yet a law from the Italian Parliament regulating the 1948 cases, the 1948 cases, I mean, they are approved since 2009. So of course they are really around 15 years of legal precedent. So they are really well-established cases. So it's not a worry. Also in this case, we had a minor case. Very briefly, also, the starting actor was the great-great-grandmother alone. She married an American, so she was the only Italian ancestor that we can use. And she had her child in 1920, and then she naturalized in 1933, so the child was 13 years old. We prepare, of course, the SER argumentation for the court. So basically, in this case, we already recall the same principle. And also here, the judge approved the case. The judge says, yes, that's right. In this case, the child had the right of Italian citizenship since the beginning, so since his birth. And so, of course, the child during his minor age can renew. Only when he became an adult, he had the right to decide if renews or not. But nobody, not us of course, but nobody, and also the counterpart, never filed some document proving that there was a renunciation. And so said the judge, of course, the minor was born from an Italian mother, so got the right of citizenship since the beginning, since the birth, and so never renews. And what is important here, the judge clearly said that no effect as the fact that the mother naturalized when the minor was still a minor. This is very important. This is very important because it's it's written on paper, that is the so-called minor case interpretation is absolutely not applicable. And of course, we totally agree with the judge in this case, because we continue to say that for us, the minor case interpretation is a wrong interpretation and is also against what is the 30 years, more than 30 years of application for citizenship by descent. So this one, the last decision, as I said, was set at the end of July. So it's a really, really fresh situation. As you see, of course, there are different courts that are approving the minor case right now, and it's, as I said also, and I want to repeat it, it's very important to fight the case. So right now we are still in the position that if you have a minor case, you're not to be scared. Each case is different, with different situation, with also different legal strategies that can be done. So here it's your attorney that must be set the strategy, the right strategy for increase your chance of success. Thank you so much. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's very, very important. As I said, not just for us, but also it's important for you because you will receive notification for all the updates, all the information of the latest things that we'll post on the channel. And of course, it's also helpful for us because you can help us to continue to make these free services, because basically we are doing something for you, sharing information with you for free. So it's something that can help us to support our work and what we are doing for you. Of course, if you have questions, something you want to ask, you can contact us through the website. There is a contact form you can use. Please know that we cannot do consultation for free and also online here on YouTube and social media. So please, we are happy to reply to your comment. If you have a comment, some doubts, something you want to share, maybe your experience, you can share with us your experience. We are happy to talk with you, but we cannot provide consultation on social media and for sure not for free. Thank you again for your video. We will make some new videos about the minor cases, so keep following the channel. Thank you so much and see you on the next videos.